Historian, one traditional childbearing practice in the 19th century was to make a child who misbehaved sit alone outside. All right, so this was one practice for someone that misbehaved. Anyone passing by would conclude that that child had misbehaved. Like, oh, you're outside, you misbehaved. Nowadays, many child psychologists would disprove this practice because they believe that such practice damages the child's self-esteem, and that damage to children's self-esteem makes them less confident as adults. So apparently, like, being less confident as adults isn't a good thing. However, no one disagrees that adults raised under the traditional practice were, on average, as confident as adults not so raised. Wait, what? So no one disagrees that adults raised under the tradition were on average as confident as adults not so raised.
So that's the conclusion, right?
Yeah, but what does not so raised means? Okay, not so raised under the traditional practices. So nobody disagrees with the fact that adults raised under this tradition were on average as confident
Right.
as adults not so raised. So like maybe they were as confident. So nobody disagrees with the fact that they were as confident. Crazy.
And I know this has nothing to do with anything, but I'm laughing because, I mean, my mother never put me outside, but I could see how that could be effective, even though now, you know, you can't touch a child, you can't, and that's why kids are so, I know that has, as they say,
can't even put a kid in timeout anymore.
Right, exactly. And I say, as they say, that has nothing to do with nothing, but okay, so let's go.
All right, so let's start with A.
All right. A, the beliefs of many present-day child psychologists about the consequences of loss of self-esteem are incorrect. That's too harsh.
Yeah, do we say that the beliefs of current day psychologists are wrong?
Yeah, that's too harsh.
Yeah, I don't think we think that. I don't think we disagree with what psychologists are saying.
Yeah, okay. B, some of the most confident adults, as well as some of the least confident adults, were raised under the traditional practice in question. I'm liking B, but hold up.
Okay.
C, with traditional childbearing practice, passers-by did not always make correct inferences about children's behavior by observing them outdoors. That's incorrect.
Yeah, we don't know if they made correct inferences or not.
Right. D, the most confident adults are those who develop the highest level of self-esteem in childhood. That's not true.
We have no idea. Maybe they're narcissists.
Okay, E, if children's loss of self-esteem makes them less confident as adults, then the traditional childbearing practice in question did not tend to cause significant loss of self-esteem. If children's loss of self-esteem makes them less confident as adults, then the traditional childbearing practice in question did not tend to cause significant. E doesn't make sense to me.
All right, so E is actually going to be our answer.
Really?
Yeah, and it's because we're saying that no one disagrees that adults that had this practice were as confident as adults not raised by it. So nobody.
Right.
So essentially, we're saying there's no difference between the two.
Right. Maybe let me read it again.
So if there's no difference between those that had this practice and didn't have this practice, would it be the traditional childbearing practice that
in question did not tend to, right? Okay, I misread it. If children's loss of self-esteem makes them less confident as adults, then the traditional child-rearing practice in question did not tend to cause significant loss of self-esteem.
It must have been something else that caused the loss of self-esteem, because there was no difference between those that were raised under this specific childbearing traditional practice and those that were not raised with this traditional.
And you know what? That makes sense, because once again, and if I go back to B and to tell me why it's wrong, it says some of the most confident adults, as well as some of the least confident adults, were raised under the traditional practice in question.
It could be true.
Yeah.
I have no idea if like
right.
I have no idea if they're like the most confident adult.
Right. And that's why,
yeah.
Right. So
and that's why
yeah. So